Kia ora and welcome to AI Demo Day, the first Demo Day event that we've produced for New Zealand.ai. I'm Justin Flitter, I'm the founder of AI New Zealand, and for the last 8 years, we've been helping Kiwi organisations discover why, where and how to be leveraging artificial intelligence. Today, over 2 live demo sessions, you're going to see firsthand 7 different companies and meet the people and deep dive into the product to discover firsthand how you can use these AI tools to unlock the potential of artificial intelligence in your business. Let's get started. Peter, you've been working in the AI space for quite some time now. Tell us a little bit about you and your history over the last few years.
That's exactly what you didn't want me to do, the infinity screen, right?
That's all right. You can drop it into another.
We'll come back to that. Yeah, so what we did in 2017, we started a business, Spacetime, and we were IBM partners back then. That was back in the good old days of IBM Watson, where everything was, sorry, I don't understand the question with those chatbots. So there was a lot of work. And then, of course, Gen AI came along with, massive understanding of language. So you no longer get those type of problems. You get other problems. Of course, you get hallucinations. You get stuff that's made up. And that can be a bit challenging. But there are ways to overcome that. So, and then we had a customer that wanted an avatar of themselves. So we started another company called Replica. And that was a fantastic... That was a fantastic use of both companies, Spacetime being natural language processing, Replica doing front-end avatars, and that treated us pretty well. And Replica actually, it started to focus more on medical bookings, and now we've got over 90 radiology clinics where we use an avatar to take complex, radiology modality bookings. So that's pretty good. But about 2 years ago, we decided, and we've had another business, Virtual Blue, since 2018, and that's really been around robotic process automation. And we decided, given that we've got joint customers across all 3 companies, it made perfect sense to bring it under the Virtual Blue banner. So Spacetime and Replica became part of Virtual Blue, but that's type of the background. Initially with IBM, now with Microsoft nearly exclusively, which is good. We build on the Microsoft stack, and it's all under the Virtual Blue banner. So what I thought I'd do is today I'm really going to be focusing on what we call intelligent automation, which is the hybrid. It's the combination of what I call robotic process automation, which I'll explain for those that don't know. We're up to 80 people. I know if the numbers start dropping, then I'd better change my tune. And intelligent agents. So we've built an intelligent agent, which is pretty sophisticated, and I'll show you some of that. And that's Angelica AI, and that combines with the robotic process automation, and it really gives a lot of flexibility, a lot of capability. So I will share my slide deck, hopefully without the infinity screen. A little bit of background on us. We're full service, so we go in and we do opportunity assessments, which is basically looking at various processes that you've got, workflows, and then really understanding that before we make a recommendation around the technology. We're Auckland based. We do quite a bit of work in Australia though, as I say, with radiology. We've got over 90 clinics now. And we're about 80% healthcare. So, that said, we're fairly broad. Just to check, you can see our customer slides, Justin?
We can indeed.
You can, perfect. So this gives you a flavour of it. And we've done well over 90 processes now across about 37 customers. So, we've had, as I say, since 2018, we've been doing this around robotic process automation. So a fair amount of experience now. And some big ticket names and some smaller organisations as well. Okay, so what's this robotic process automation? And my apologies to those of you that know exactly what this is and you may be using it. So I'll go through this fairly quickly, but we consider a robot a team member. And a robot in this sense, and you talk to people about robots and they think it's going to be something funky that assembles cars sitting in the back of the office. No, not quite that. It's software robots. And the advantage of software robots is how they interact with your systems is they have a username and a login. So you don't even need an API. That said, there's a lot of stuff that we do with application programming interfaces. So you've got a direct connection with your backend systems, whether they're CRM, ERP, or anything that you may be home built. So a robot logs in like a person, which is really good because we don't even need to deal with the other vendors. In this case, we can just have a robot with its own login, its own password, and it's going into your system and it's using the screens. It does everything like a user would. So when we train a robot, we sit down with one of your subject matter experts, we go through your process, and we record that, and then we basically replicate what you've done and how you're interacting with your systems on screen, and the robot does exactly the same thing. Now, it can handle exceptions and deviations and all those good things. But that said, a robot is what we would call deterministic. You know, it basically follows a process map, if you like. And if there's anything that has any ambiguity to it, that's where our solution, Angelica AI, can understand what's really going on, the nuances in human language, or what's been said, what's being asked for. And in the second part of this, I'll talk more about Angelica, which is quite interesting. So what I'm going to do is play a video here. What I'm acutely aware of, guys, is that whenever I play a video, and you'll see this with Angelica, it looks like the lip syncing's all over the place. In actual fact, it's not. We have the same problem doing videos through Teams. It's pretty laggy. It has
it's the latency, isn't it? Latency.
It is the latency, and it's a bummer, particularly when you've got an avatar, because it doesn't look like it's lip synced properly. But I can assure you it is, and I can give you some websites like Azure Radiology. You can jump on and have a look at one of our radiology booking avatars on there, and you'll see that it's lip syncs perfectly. It animates really well. It's quite neat. So I'm just going to show a little video here. It's Mercy Radiology, and it's how a robot interfaces with different systems. Now, there'll be a little bit of text down the bottom just explaining what it's doing. That's going to move through pretty quickly, but it'll give you a feel for what a robot is. It's a software robot and how it interacts.
We're not seeing that, Peter, unfortunately.
Is it coming through yet?
We're going to blank. I've got your... Oh, yeah, now we're seeing it.
Okay, let's see how we go. So this is the robot opening various systems, just checking it has access, and then it'll go off and start processing the ACC claims from Mercy Radiology. So all the movement you see here is the robot controlling the screen and making entries and checking things off, reconciling those payments. You see, it's actually quite quick, as you'd expect.
That's incredibly fast how it's processing everything.
Yeah, it's pretty neat, and as I say, I mean, it doesn't require any development to interface with your systems. It just works through the front end like a user would, and that's why we consider it a digital worker, because it's basically doing what a person would do. Okay, all right. So in terms of what it did, hopefully you can just see this little summary. I mean, it's basically reducing the amount of hours that people are having to work. So you can redeploy people, you know, higher value add, customer facing stuff, you know, things that aren't ideal for technology. So it's really, you know, in a nutshell, robotic process automation, it automates donkey work. Stuff that's repeatable, it's high volume. Those are the type of processes you want to look at. Often they're back-end finance processes, but they can be anywhere in your value chain, you know, from front end with customer right through to payment, that entire value chain. Any questions? Not that I can see them, but have you got anything, Justin, that you want to ask?
No, not yet.
Okay, that's all right. So now we've got Angelica. So, you know, what I've shown you, we've got our basic robot doing, you know, fairly mundane things. And then we've got an intelligent agent here that can do a lot more, and it can interact with that robot to give it some intelligence. So that's the guts of that. So it's what it is here. Angelica is basically, when I say Microsoft large language models, they're largely OpenAI, but they're sitting in Azure. That's why I call it Microsoft. And we also use some dedicated machine learning models for specific tasks like OCR. And it can integrate with, you know, Blue Prism, Power Automate, whatever you've got there. And it can also do things like logic apps within Azure as well, which is pretty handy. But the main thing here is it brings a whole new level of flexibility and intelligence to that robot that's doing that type of mundane work. So I've got a little video here, and as I say, the lip sync might be out because of, you know, just the latency. But she's very matter of fact, and that's the persona that we're looking for, polite, professional, but straight to the point. So I'll run this for a second. You can see Angelica?
Yes, we can.
Cool. Okay.
Your customers, I provide 24/7 support through a conversation interface to deliver personalized interactions based on customer data and communicate in multiple languages.
Yeah, the audio is not coming through quite.
Oh, isn't it?
Well,
okay. Well, what I'll do is I won't bog people down. I'll make that available. So if anyone wants to download it from our SharePoint and have a look, we've also got it on YouTube, but that's a shame because what she's really explaining is her capability. But in a nutshell, this is what it is. Angelica covers three broad use case areas. Customers, so it can be customer facing with or without the avatar, can just be textual, can just be voice if that's your preference. By the way, whenever we have an avatar that's customer facing, the customer can toggle it off if they don't want it, and that's fine. Funnily enough, no one ever does, but you know, the capability's there. Obviously multilingual. For your team members, information retrieval, document summarization, IT support, that type of thing. And it's also, as I say, it's augmenting back-end processes that RPA does. So automated data extraction, workflow automation, email triage and routing. That's quite a common use case that we have. So, you know, really broad capability, whether it's customer facing, team facing, or just doing back-end stuff that you never see. It's just happening in the background, interacting with your ERP, your CRM, you know, your Xero, whatever systems you're using.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get through this pretty quickly, but most of this is about the concept. This is all hosted in Azure. It's a hybrid model, so hybrid intelligence. It uses large language, predictive machine learning, optimization algorithms, and really importantly, custom business rules. So if a large language model pulls back something which is dicey, which is not accurate or hallucination, we validate that with custom business rules before we touch your ERP or your CRM or whatever other system of record you've got. As I say, it can be customer facing on the right-hand side. It can be internal on the left-hand side. All sits in the cloud. It's Azure. It's secure. And it's a platform. You know, there's so many different things you can do with it. But I think really importantly, that hybrid intelligence, combining models and having custom business rule validation gives it, you know, it makes it enterprise grade. It's not just flapping around with a large language model. Okay, so it's about enhancing productivity and customer satisfaction, improving communication, and of course, either through APIs or through robotic process automation, RPA, you've got seamless integration with your existing systems. So it's really easy to put these systems in. It's fairly low touch from the business point of view.
We often talk about kind of enterprise grade, solutions.
Yep.
That doesn't necessarily mean it's only for big business. Enterprise grade means that there is robustness and security protocols and other guardrails that are in place, right? I noticed from your customer wall that you shared earlier, we're not just talking about big corporate businesses here to use it. It's actually usable by lots of SMBs as well, right?
Totally. It would be a shame if it was limited to corporates, multinationals, large enterprise. I mean, the whole value for New Zealand is having access to technology that a few years ago would have cost you millions to develop.
Yes.
And now it's accessible to everyone. It really is a brave new world. It's fantastic. And we certainly have some smaller customers, there's no doubt. We've done a lot of work with fine wine delivery over the years and using, various technologies with them. It would have been prohibitive even a few years back. So that's an example of a smaller retailer that's leveraging AI and, for search and various other things.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate your time to share and showcase the capability of Angelica AI and what you and the team are doing at Virtual Blue. You mentioned you've got quite a history in kind of that medical and healthcare space. Is that kind of your focus, or are you starting to see increased applications kind of outside of that too?
Yeah, it had been for a few years, and we've type of saturated the radiology market where we intended to. So Angelica is very broad. It's not industry specific, but I will say that and beating our own drum a little bit, because we've worked in healthcare, we're very data sensitive. We understand the privacy implications of a data breach. And I think that we bring that to the table, and that's important. It's something we take hugely seriously. You have one breach like that in healthcare, and as an organization, you're over. It's just the information's so sensitive. We've got that pedigree, and I think that's useful, and it's what we apply to everything now. But we're broad. I mean, we're horizontal. We're not industry specific because the technology, can be applied anywhere.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Peter. Really appreciate your time.